Welcome to Man Matters Podcast, where combat sports, mindset, and real-life lessons collide. Hosted by Derving and Nate, we dive into jiu-jitsu, wrestling, MMA, and the grind that shapes athletes inside and outside the mat. Every episode we bring stories, strategies, and raw conversations that fuel growth, resilience, and community. Stay tuned because it's more than a fight, it's a lifestyle. Welcome back to Man Matters Podcast. Today we got a packed show full of chaos outside the cage, from Wanderlei Silva bringing back his trademark wall energy after dirty boxing DQ, to Jake Matthews losing a controversial decision against Neil Magny, and IShowSpeed Speed getting his ass whooped by one of the clashiest submissions you ever see. Plus, we'll talk about Gable Steveson upcoming dirty boxing match in Nashville, and close with some of the excitement of the Smashing Machine, the upcoming Mark Kerr biopic starring The Rock and Emily Blunt. Let's get into it. How's it going, man?
Pretty good. How are you?
Doing good, man. It's like, it's been a while after like freaking Wanderlei Silva still like long in the tooth, still trying to do competing in dirty boxing in Brazil, because Brazil is wild in it by itself. And do you see how it all started? That craziness happened for that match.
It was a pretty aggressive match in general, right? And then Wanderlei got some headbutts and elbows in.
Yeah.
Something like that.
He tried to do some old school MMA. And then after it, well, I can understand what Verdun was talking afterwards. He was in Portuguese trying to explain what happened. He said it was him, Wanderlei, the two corners were Dida and Thor. That's what their name. It was a bunch of guys that jump in there trying to fight them. And the crazy thing, one of the guys, I don't know if he was the promoter or one of the guys in the other guy's corner, he was coming there because he was holding the belt. He came in there. He's the one that knocked out Wanderlei Silva because he hit him on the back of the head first, and then he rocked him and dropped him afterwards. Wanderlei still he's still having headaches and things like that. His eyes just busted from the brawl. And Verdun, he's not a small guy. He's throwing punches at everybody in there too.
Yeah, that turned into mayhem really quickly.
Yeah,
the little bit I saw was it seemed like the fight between the fighters got a little bit out of control with the ref at first. You know, with the headbutts and the elbows, and understandably, yeah, that would piss me off too, because that's not the rules. But yeah, it really did not take long to escalate. It started, and then it got bad really quickly. Yeah,
it's hard to stop. I can count how many people were in there. Because the ring got full fast. You know who was going who. And Wanderlei is known for being one of those wild guys. Even when he was in Pride, I don't know if you heard of. I think his name was Charles. I can't remember his nickname was Felony, but he's one of the guys that was in Pride. He was hilarious. A Crazy Horse, Charles. His name was Crazy Horse.
Okay.
He was I want to say 145, 155, something like that. He would he would do backflips, you slam people, take him down. And during this, whenever they announced his name, he would tear up a teddy bear, thinking crazy. Well, he was in backstage and he got in a brawl with Wanderlei Silva. He said he knocked out Wanderlei Silva in Pride, in backstage.
Really?
Because he was staring at Charles for no reason. I can't remember what it was for. But he rocked him. And Wanderlei is known for getting into brawls backstage too. I mean, look at the Ultimate Fighter too. Remember with the video with Shelson? For the Ultimate Fighter, there were the coaches they were announcing, trying to pick their guys. And they're like, okay, we can fight right here. We don't need that. We can fight right now. And then you can't let you get this close, and you just push them. They started fighting each other, and everybody jumping, trying to break the fight. I think Dida, one of his coaches, was punching Shelson in the back of the head during the brawl. And Bill's crazy. Bill, he's a wild guy. Anyways, so it's crazy. Like, you're too old for that. I mean, now you have a headache. Like, dude, you're too old for that now.
Yeah.
Especially doing boxing after he got some like his face reconstructed with plastic surgery. Because I think his nose, in order for him to fix it, they have to get a cartilage from his rib. That's why his nose looked like that, because his nose was completely collapsed.
Really?
Yeah, his nose was completely collapsed from fighting and getting knees and elbows.
Let's throw that all away for the
Yeah, or cloud. Speaking of surgery, Bastruden, he had a plastic surgery, but you can notice he said his nose, they did like a silicone. Instead of having bone, they have a silicone right here in the middle for his septum. So then he crushes it. You can like still like it's like he bends in, but he like it's still fixed. It's like, it still has like that his bridge of his nose. It doesn't affect his nose or his breathing. And he had it for years and years.
That is pretty cool. Yeah, I remember. Yeah, hearing him talk about that.
Crazy, because when he press his nose, it just collapses completely. Like,
Yeah, yeah. It just looks so weird, but yeah, that's
I think he was one of his students was the one that did it for him.
oh, really.
Yeah.
I didn't know
He's a
that.
plastic surgeon. He did plastic surgery for him.
Dang, that's a good student to have.
Yeah. It's Moneyberg right there. His name was Moneyberg.
Right? Yeah, right.
Oh. No, other like speaking of other controversy inside the cage, we're gonna talk about Jake Matthews versus Neil Magny match. That one was a crazy fight because that was the main event of Perth, Australia. Jake Matthews was fighting against Neil Magny. He caught him in a tight guillotine. And Neil Magnus went limp at the end of the first round. And the referee stopped the fight just before the horn sounded. But Neil Magny jumped up and he was protesting the referee's decision, but he sounded that the fight was over. It was just a down the round, and they just kept the fight going. First of all, is that healthy to keep going after he went out like that? But then afterwards, the thing about it was Matthews was submitted in the third round by Neil Magny, which he lost the match. What do you think about that?
That's really rough. I know that sometimes those calls must be incredibly hard for the refs. Because people going out can happen in so many ways, you know what I mean? Sometimes they go stiff as a board, sometimes they go completely limp, but also that could be just them escaping or relaxing. It's really hard to make those calls. I don't know. I feel like, yeah, I don't know. That is so hard. It sucks that those situations happen, but yeah, I don't know what the answer is.
Yeah, because it just depends. Some submissions you can't tell that they're locked in and they're like get submitted, because it could have gone the other way. Magni could have just get submitted at the beginning of the second round. Because I think that happened with Paulo Filho and Charles and back when they were in WEC. This is for the light heavyweight title, I think it was, or middleweight title. Paulo Filho caught Charles in a triangle. Charles tapped once and they stopped the fight, and he said like no, he wasn't tapping. He was trying to get a submission. When they went back again, he caught him again in the triangle. He submitted him again. The same triangle, which that could have happened too. But this is the opposite. He lost the match, even though he thought he was winning.
Yeah, I mean, you like to see the ones where, you know, it happens again and they're able to, like, actually get it this time, because then it leaves nothing to question. But this one, yeah, that's super unfortunate. I mean,
Yeah, the only other one that I can think of that was kind of controversial than that, I think it was in England. Have Anderson Silva versus Michael Bisping. They're going to say against each other. Michael Bisping dropped his mouthpiece, and whenever he was trying to pick it up, Anderson Silva just threw a flying knee and knocked him out. Like it was at the end of the round two. He was out, like completely flatlined him. But it was after the fact, and he was trying to pick up the mouthpiece. But Michael Bisping came back and was able to win the next round. So he won the fight, despite he got like dropped like crazy. Because Anderson was celebrating on top of the cage and everything. I was like, oh, and then up losing the decision.
yeah, man, that's crazy. But yet, to come back from that,
Yeah, especially you get it wrong.
well, exactly, yeah. That's, yeah, that always seems to have a pretty big impact.
Yeah, especially you don't want to go like full out offense because you can get caught off. Especially somebody that's a good counter striker, as Anderson Silva. He was able to strike him.
Right. That really, yeah, that's an amazing comeback.
Yeah, but also you have to take consideration that could have been a 10-8 round after you got dropped like that. So you had to go. The only way to win is if you get a finish or get a 10-8 yourself. But yeah, like some decisions you don't want to leave it up to the referees. You have to put them out.
Yep. Most.
Yeah, you have to put them out. Just like dude. It is a combat sport. It is a sport at times, and people focus more on the sport side of it. But if you have the chance to go for the finish, just take it.
Mm-hmm.
Because that takes away the uncertainty. Ugh. It's like some having a questionable decision. When I went to the PFL event, like there were like a couple of decisions that were like, dude, like how did the other guy win? Especially like the main event was one like that. One guy was like taking that guy down and was like dominating. He was one Khabib's guy. He was like dominating the grappling exchange.
Mm-hmm.
Though they was doing strikes, stuff like that. And when the decision came, the guy that was getting taken down and getting like dominated for most of the match won the decision because he had more strikes.
Really?
I was like, how's that fucking possible? How is that even a match? Somebody they got ragdoll on the ground.
Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, a takedown is worth so much more than a strike.
Yeah. So I can just I can take somebody down and he bursts my back for 5 minutes. That guy because he burped me for 5 minutes, he's gonna win even though I'm on top, better position.
Right.
How much sense does that make? But yeah, some decisions are weird. For example, New York is known for that. For bad decisions. Some I can think of. I think he's I can't remember his name right now. He's from Netherlands. Yegar Musasi. He lost a position. I think it was like a kick to the head or knee to the head where he was like he had a guy in the front headlock. But whenever he was throwing the knee, he picked up the guy. So he picked up his hand off the ground and threw the knee. So it's no 3-point contact. But because the way he initiated, they call it that was a 3-point contact. So it was a DQ because of it. But it's not really technically a DQ if 2-point contact you bring the hand up in the front headlock and through the knee. But they use DQ.
Is there some special rule like when the strike initiates, they can't be?
Well, they changed that now. I'm not because of that.
Okay.
Because what they all used to do whenever they'll get like grounded, they'll 3-point contact. So you just put their fingers on the ground, and they count that as 3-point contact. But now it has to be palm on the ground and knees on the ground, not the bottom of your feet.
Okay.
Because it's 3-point contact.
Yep.
Otherwise, you can still get hit, which is fair.
Right. No, that makes sense. I'm curious with the judging. How I should know this, but how subjective is it? Is it like set amount of like points for takedowns, strikes, significant strikes, or is it kind of up to the judge to say like, okay, he got this many takedowns?
It's up to the judge's criteria, I think. If I can remember correctly. Cecil Peoples was the worst at this. He didn't count leg strikes as strikes because they were no lethal. Like for example, the match between Shogun Rua and Lyoto Machida. Shogun Rua threw a lot of leg kicks because Lyoto Machida is known for leaping in and out. If you wear out his legs, he takes away his footwork. You have to slowly cook him to get like striking, keeping your range as a Muay Thai or kickboxing striking rather than being leaping in and out as in karate. That's how Shogun Rua lost the first match close decision against Lyoto Machida was because Cecil Peoples didn't consider leg kicks as strikes. Well, the second match came out and Shogun Rua knocked out Lyoto Machida, and then just to take it a judge decision. Some judges don't consider takedown as much. It's not like they're heavy on takedowns, which they should be because it's hard to take somebody down.
Yeah, that's a lot of work.
That's the reason. Probably, I want to say that's the reason why the rounds in MMA are 5 rounds compared to 3 minutes in kickboxing, because the takedown part and the grappling part is a lot difficult. It's hard to hit somebody and hard to take somebody down.
Well, and I think we may have talked about it a long time ago. I think if MMA fights were like not rounds, they were just like one straight match, or if they were just much longer rounds, I think you'd see a lot more grappling.
Yes. because you have to worry about like getting stand up again because you have to reserve some energy for getting back down or at least get into the cage.
Right. That investment is so much more worth it if you have like minutes to hold them down.
Yeah.
Minutes to wear them out.
Yeah.
After you've, yeah.
What do you think about the new way of, for example, the Hamza Shimai approach went against Dricus Du Plessis for the middleweight title? That he just took him down and he kept position, but he never went for a submission finish, a submission attack.
It's, I'm sure, like very effective, extremely effective. Really, if you're talking about even real world, something like that would be very effective because you can wear them out. They will expend their energy before the person holding them down does. The problem is it's incredibly boring and will not bring any viewers to any sport that allows that to happen.
Yeah. That's why like, Nick Diaz was complaining back in the day against people because they were just taking down and just wearing down. They're not trying to go for submission.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
He was mad about that. Yeah. But also this there's something about jiu-jitsu. There's a big thing that's position over submission. Always
Right.
choose better position than trying to go for the submission finish.
Mm-hmm.
In boxing, they call it either you win the round or you win the match. You can win both.
Mm-hmm.
If you try to finish the fight and finish the round, you don't get the decision. Got a bigger picture. They trying, but also for the sport as entertainment wise, it's not fun for the casuals. You see somebody ragdoll somebody, just keep it down in the crucifix with a
Right.
submission. Yes. It's not the thing for like not everybody watches like football for the strategy, like who has like better passes, things like that. Nobody's scoring anything.
Mm-hmm.
That's why soccer is considered boring. There's not much scoring going on.
Right.
Because a football game is twice as long as a soccer game, yet people watch it all the time. Think about that.
Yeah. Yeah. That is true, yeah. But yeah, football is constantly scoring. I mean, you get very few games that are low scoring games in that.
Yeah. And usually the league itself encourage offensive players. So a lot of like flags and penalties punish is the defense rather than the offense. Other than like false starts and things like that. The information.
Mm-hmm.
But usually offense don't get penalized much as defenders.
Yeah. That makes sense. I hadn't thought about that as much, but that does make sense.
Roughing the passer, pass interference.
Yep.
They have different stuff. Like before, you used to like just tackle the quarterback and just let me index against the ground. Now, if you tackle them, you cannot touch them as they hit the ground. You have to brace impact. If you land on top of them, they consider a foul.
Mm-hmm.
For some reason, because you don't want to hurt the quarterback. So those are the guys that bring the most money.
Yep.
Those are the jersey sellers.
Yes, they are.
And for the most time, they're the time managers too.
The time manager, yeah, right, yeah. I mean, that is interesting.
Usually,
more?
Yeah, time position is a factor. Kind of like in MMA, like how much advantage you have, like, time off on top and things like that. Time position usually is the one that has controlling the score. So if you have a quarterback that's in the field longer than the other one, usually the one that stays in the field longer wins, unless it just keeps scoring and scoring and scoring. You just pay much.
Right, yeah.
Just scoring out the get-go, but really seldom you see that. But it's not entertaining just to watch them just like they call it like ball hoggers, like in other sports, but in MMA, just like a decision, just nightmare. Usman, he used to like ragdoll people to a decision with a mission attempt.
Right. Well, and that's why people loved the Dana Death Squad back in the day, because they trained that they wanted to submit, and people love to see that. Jiu-jitsu with submissions is a sport that people would watch, but I think that's why the gi jiu-jitsu is it's not nearly as popular. It's just slower. There's less offensive moves. Yeah.
Is that the reason why they make advantage points? Because it's so boring, there's like not much going on.
The reason they made advantage points, maybe I guess maybe because there's enough stalemate, where nobody's scoring anything. So at least you have advantage points where it's, somebody did something and you can quantify that. I think that helps a lot.
Yeah. In wrestling, they had a different, like, they call it reference criteria. So, for example, two guys are going against each other and they have the same score. The guy that scored the last point wins if they have like the same, because he encouraged the guy that going for it at the end of the match. And also, if another reference criteria is whoever scored the highest point move wins. So, for example, one guy did a 4-point move, but another guy got 4 points by pushing the other guy out of bounds. It's 4-4, but the guy that did a 4-point move is the one that gets awarded the win because.
That's interesting. That seems, yeah, I mean, seems like a good way to encourage, like, maybe flashier moves. I don't know. I don't know.
Like, for example, like
Maybe
Neo
for
belly
lack of a
back
better
takes
word.
and things like that, rather than just guard pass. Guard pass. But
Right.
like back takes, they go mount, no Neo belly, no nothing. Just getting like guard pass, half guard. Guard pass, half guard. Is it really like worth it, the match?
Right.
So it will encourage them to go to a better position rather than just playing patty cakes.
Right.
In which I'm looking forward to see how Toro is going to do.
I know. Yeah. Now that they're penalizing for, yeah, I'm looking forward to that. I hope it makes a big difference.
It's going to speed up things a lot.
Yeah.
Do you think they were giving way too much money for submissions? They're like, yeah, you guys don't engage. You're not giving the money. I'm getting people kicked out this time. Instead of giving money, you're getting kicked out of the.
Yeah. Well, to be honest, since they moved to the new place, there's been, I want to say 2 out of 3 that I've gone to that were just, they dragged on. There was like no subs. People were just like, it was boring matches over and over again. So I'm really hoping this will speed it up. And I think it has a good chance to. But yeah, it's almost like, for whatever reason, at this new place that people are just taking their time. Maybe they don't want to lose in front of what at least appears to be more people. I'm not sure, but
It's more exposure as far as like more people. You see more people because the other one you see like a small crowd around the match.
But yeah, I hope that, if it's a boring match and the ref can start speeding things up by penalizing.
Yeah.
That's a good deal.
You can start calling action green, action red, like whoever makes not doing something. They encourage them.
I wonder if they have to wait till the points. Probably not. I would hope not.
Hopefully.
You know what I mean?
It's not being like 5 minutes at least.
Right.
But I can see that probably waiting to the points. Because so that way they're giving a chance for them to like try and go or not go for submission the first 5 minutes.
That's true. Yeah.
That makes sense. Yeah, that would be fun to see him. Speed things up alone. Another thing I was gonna bring up was the viral video of Asho Speed versus Vanessa Demopoulos, the UFC fighter. They were doing a video. He was recording with them. Let me see if I can share this. Let me know when you can see my screen.
Yeah, I see it.
So this is he like took her back. I'll let you watch the video. Let me know what you think. We're in the wrong video. There you go.
Dang. So he not only lost the back, gets taken down. All right.
See, William
Dang. Yeah.
She's slapping him around right there.
It really is funny to see people that like have no idea, and so they're using all muscle because that's exactly what he's trying to do.
He got done the Gogo Plata.
Oh, that's funny.
He's letting us don't have to grab you. Like, do you think that's the problem was? I think the problem is you don't have to grapple.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, that's gotta be one of the most humbling ways to get submitted is, they use their foot.
I did a test.
To choke you
There was
out.
another video that he went against her, and she pulled guard immediately. I think it was after this. So she pulled guard immediately. He stood up, and she went into a berimbolo backside 50-50, and she cut him in the leg lock. So this time, he didn't try to grab her. He just tried to walk away from her, and she just grabbed the leg and just crank him. Grab his leg.
I wouldn't want to do that to him. I'd be afraid he's the kind of guy that would, spaz out or something and twist his own leg.
Oh, yeah. Instead of jumping on the cage, trying to for the elbow out of nowhere. But that's impressive. I think a video of her, she's flexible. But she was trying like stretching, and she tried to put herself in a triangle. But she's like kind of like a lotus position. But like putting like her legs behind her neck. She's trying to do like a triangle on herself. But she's really, really flexible. Which makes
that's crazy.
It makes sense on the do a Gogo Plata. It's hard to do. Awesome.
Right. That's true.
How many people dislocate their hip doing that?
Yeah, right? Yeah.
I used to watch a gogo plata attempt. It was like for people that are less flexible. So you do it for a perpendicular position. So instead of going for the omoplata, you go for the gogo plata, but it's like perpendicular to them and like feed your foot under the neck and use the outside leg and put it behind their neck. So you push the head down. So you force the gogo plata that way instead of going uh parallel to them, like straight up. You just perpendicular to them because you're not as flexible to finish it from there.
Right. It's a nice little threat sometimes, just to get people thinking. Does tend to open things up a little bit, at least.
Especially arm bars, because they want to get their head out of there and arm out of there immediately, and they opens up arm bar immediately from there. But I know that she was like her grappling was like that. Was it like the backside 50-50 that she went into?
Mm-hmm.
She got him.
Pretty slick transition into that.
Yeah. Like he has no chance.
No.
What do you think?
That's funny. He kind of a goofball himself.
Yeah.
So.
What do you what do you think about these stunts? Like, do you think he'll grow the sport, reaching new fans, or they just like sideshow spotlight for the real fighters?
I think it'll probably bring in some people. I mean, maybe not a ton, but I don't think it'll hurt. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's better than the Charles Strickland approach.
Yeah, a lot.
Yeah, because at least you could see this is like a playful way.
Right.
I think Katzengano did some like that. Holly Holm did other ones too. I think Holly Holmes, I can't remember who she was grappling against, that she was able like to grab him and submit him. But it is good to see those interactions, like between like influencers, because I think Forrest Griffin is the one that talks about that fighting is the ultimate sport, because whenever you're in a basketball game, in a soccer game, baseball game, if you're able to settle the score in a sport way, you throw fisticuffs and start fighting each other.
That's true. Yeah, that's the baseline. Really.
Yeah, anybody, the one thing they have in common is fighting. So I mean, if you get more people in the sport, like especially the grappling part, because you can tell in the video he like completely clueless on what to do.
Right. Yes. Yeah. Just full on like muscling to to turn her over, and she's not that big,
But you're in the quicksand.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. You think that muscle is going to get you out, but it doesn't do nearly as much as you think.
Yeah. I know how athletic he was. Like he did a race against another guy. He can run fast as hell.
Really?
Yeah, he did. I don't know who's the influencer that was doing like those videos. They wake up at 4 a.m. He put his face in cold ice.
Ooh, I feel like there's a lot of them.
Like they talk about their morning routine. They do like their prayer. They go for a swim. They put like a specific like time. They're like really like buff guy that he was like a video of him running behind a car or something like that. How fast he was running against other people, how fast he was. And then he did like a race against show speed. He said one day he slipped, and then another one he raced against him, and he just burned him every time.
Really?
Burned him every time. Wow. I can't remember what his top speed is, because I'll say like over 20 miles per hour.
What? Dang. I mean, it is in his name.
Yeah. He actual speed is a 40-yard dash is 4.44, which is a regular NFL player is 4.4. It was recorded in the NFL draft.
Really?
Yeah, clock at 10.5 seconds at 100 meters. I'm training the Olympic coach. That's pretty fast.
That's crazy. Yeah.
100 meters.
Gosh, I had no idea. That's
Yeah, that's impressive. Well, that as athletic as he is,
yeah,
you don't have to be fast.
not a chance. Not a chance. Yeah.
Usually,
He better use that speed. If she actually gets mad at him, he better use that speed.
yeah, take off running. Get a running star somewhere. But for instance, testing the waters. Let's move to Olympic champion, stepping back into the combat sport. Gable, the Dutch Steveson. He's trying dirty boxing now. He has a dirty boxing match in Nashville, Tennessee. Which interesting, he has many matches lined up despite having turf toe that sidelined him away from.
Yeah, it's really an amazing recovery right there.
The power a wheel, man. You power through things.
That's right.
But it looks like October 30th at the Pinnacle in Nashville, Tennessee, he'll be facing Billy Swanson. He'll be facing him, his record. Billy Swanson is 31 years old, has a professional MMA record of 4-3, which includes appearances in the Bellator and PFL Challenger Series. His last combat sport outing was a bare knuckle boxing fight on their bare knuckle fighting combat banner in August, where he lost against Bear Hill. I keep like getting confused. Like they're like their names are weird. Like bare knuckle in slap fighting. Those personalities that as they because you have MMA personalities, you have those personalities, the people that do bare knuckle in slap fight.
Right. I mean, I feel like the bare knuckle people are all like screws loose kind of people.
Yeah.
Slap boxing, to be honest, I don't know anybody who's done other than Paige Van Zandt. I think she did it. Other than that, I don't know.
But you consider that boxing or not really? Because so much bobbing and weaving from there.
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. No. I'm not. There's probably technique in the swing. There may be technique in how you take it, but like that's not. It's not a worthwhile martial arts skill to train.
Yeah, if you have to put cotton swabs inside you so you don't get a concussion, there's so much technique that you can do on that. Something that they
Right.
do put
Right.
cotton swab in the ears to bust their eardrums.
Dude, yeah, no, yeah, so dumb. I can't believe that was ever a thing.
I see that some of them are like retired MMA fighters are going into bare knuckle fighting. For example, Yo Romero, but he's not retired, but he's going into bare knuckle fighting. Alan Belcher, Chris Lieben, crazy guy, Perry, Mark Perry, Mike Perry, yeah, he's over there. Gabriel Gonzaga, Bigfoot Silva, they're over there going into those kind of that sport like afterwards.
Feel like that's got to be partially because the pay is less and the competition is less. Because there's not that many people that want to do it. Granted, the damage is a lot more, so I don't know why you'd retire and go and do that. But
It cuts, especially.
exactly, yeah, it's brutal to your fists. I can't imagine how like they probably can't use their hands after doing stuff like that. You know what I mean?
Because they have to wrap their hands a certain way too.
Right.
You'll break your hand immediately. Because there's so many
Right.
small bones in your hand. And then they cut it. Do you agree that Pride rule for no elbows to like prevent cuts? That's the reason that they didn't do elbows in Pride. Even if you kick somebody in the head, elbows were illegal. Because you can cut somebody and still the person that got cut still go on in the tournament. But it doesn't make for a better fight the next fight because you can be doctor stoppage in the first round.
Right.
But somebody that gets kicked, it gets knocked out, it's the game over. It's not like we'll go to the next match.
Yeah, I feel like, I mean, when you're talking next rounds, yeah, it makes sense. Yeah, it just does. I feel like elbows are a pretty good addition. It's another significant tool that they can use.
Especially when you have fighting against somebody that's coming in flurry towards you. You can use your elbows to keep them at bay.
Right. Yeah. And it's so effective.
Mm-hmm.
In reality, I feel like, yeah, hitting somebody with your elbow is so much better idea than hitting them with your fist. There's less small bones.
Yeah,
there's, yeah, it's so powerful. And you can generate a lot of force with it too.
It's like having the end of a baseball bat available.
Mm-hmm. And for a lot of people, it's kind of a pointy end too. It's not even.
Yeah. That in the heel, the bone of the heel, dude. It's like a sledgehammer on your palm of your foot. What's the name was good at Terry Adam got a wrong end of that against Barboza. When he did a spinning heel kick, boom. Completely he plank in the middle of the air. But they're really efficient.
Yes.
What do you think about Gable Steveson trying striking now? Darren get better at striking. Since he's trying to transition from grappling into MMA.
I mean, it makes sense. There's a lot of people doing that, you know? There's a lot of people transferring from wrestling to MMA because MMA seems to have more of a available future, I would say, you know? Because, I mean, wrestling, you can go pretty far, but it seems like it's a smaller selection of people, a smaller pool that's being chosen from. I could be wrong on that. For like MMA, I feel like it's a good transition. Wrestling to MMA is a really good transition because it's so effective in that area. You know, the grind is there, the technique is there. It just works really well. And then with MMA growing, yeah, I think it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, and you have more
Personally,
venues too. Also, the thing about wrestling, there's no promotions for wrestling other than making the national team and competing for your country. If you don't make the team, there's a lot of good guys out there that if you have more weight class in the Olympics, you to have made the team. I mean, for example, Train Highly, he just won worlds at a non-Olympic weight class. So like that's one of the guys like is being right there. But if you don't make the team, there's like what do you do? You don't get no sponsors, nothing, no money from sponsors. You only just hope that you have a good Olympic training center to be able to help you get by. But other than that, you don't get enough sponsors. No, other than just going training with other people, doing seminars or things like that. Yeah, also most of the exposure you get is from what you win during your competition. If you don't get exposed or your technique or how good your technique is, how are you able to get any seminars to get calls for anything like that? So that's make it
yeah,
difficult for make it difficult for wrestling compared to MMA. You have different PFL, you have other organizations you can compete in. You have the UFC, Contender Series, all those stuff. The Ultimate Fighter, you have any to go in there.
yeah, yep. And yeah, it's not only more venues, but it's more like open spots. There's really no limit to how many people they can accept.
Yeah, speaking of Tommy Gann, he just got signed by the UFC. You know what's Contender Series? In the last year, he is 11-1. He had 12 matches,
That's right. Yeah, yeah,
11
yeah.
wins, one no contest, 0 losses. 12 matches. How crazy is that?
That's pretty impressive.
He was getting after it.
In what time period did you say that was?
12 months.
12 months. My God. So, yeah, that's not even training for anybody specific. It's just getting better, you know?
He comes out of NC State, the Wolfpack. I think he was an assistant coach there too for the wrestling team because
Hmm.
he wrestled with them. I think back in 2015, that's when he graduated from them. But he was assistant coach there for the OTC Olympic Training Center, and now he's doing MMA. 12 matches.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah. Means, yeah, he didn't have time to train for specific people. He also didn't take much damage in any of those matches, otherwise he wouldn't have been able to do that. That's pretty crazy. That means he blew out 12 people. Or 11 people, sorry.
Yeah, that's a lot of matches.
That is.
I mean, that's a wrestling mentality because also wrestling is a lot of tournaments.
Mhm.
Biggest tournament in the year, the biggest title of the year is in the tournament. If you happen to lose the one of those rounds, you go into a wasteland tournament that you have to wrestle back for third place. In third place, sometimes it takes like 7, 8 matches just to get third place. It teaches you something.
Somebody needs to tell this guy this isn't a tournament.
Yeah, he didn't get the memo. He was getting a tournament to get into the ultimate. I mean, to the
All right, when's my next match?
yeah. But also, I think he's 33 years old. I think he's 32 years old. He's born in 93.
Wow.
Yeah. So he had to get that many matches.
Yeah, he's got to climb quick. He's going to lose his opportunity.
Yeah. 32 years old. Also, I also noticed wrestlers, they usually come to MMA. Your Romero was 30. DC was 30 as well. Randy Couture was in his 30s too when they came into MMA.
I do wonder if they are doing that well at 32, if they won't have a slower drop off than, you know, the average. You know what I mean? What is the average age? Like 36 is the drop off
Yeah,
point for most
35,
people?
36. Yeah.
35,
Big
36.
class because heavier guys, they're not really because power is the last thing that goes away. But you have somebody like freaking Your Romero. Cuban missile cries. He has the technique from a lighter weight, like from 185, and he also heavyweight. He still has the power and the speed, and he still has the technique that he has over the years from boxing, MMA, wrestling from under the Cuban system. This is like a superpower, and he's built like a freaking brick house too.
Right. That definitely helps.
Yeah, the genetics.
Yep.
I forgot to mention it, but I saw today that UFC quality part ways with Ryan Hall and Nick Diaz. They were released by the UFC.
Really?
Yeah,
Wait, did you say Nate Diaz?
Nick Diaz.
Nick. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Ryan Hall, the Wizard.
Really?
Yeah, he also only lost. He's 5-1 in the UFC, but his only loss was in Ilya Topuria. So
Dang.
Ryan Hall is 40 years old.
Yeah.
Mhm. He hasn't competed recently. He had 19 surgeries.
Oh my.
Yeah, remember we went over. I don't know if he has to do with his being in leg locks a lot, but I think he had a plate in his heel that he had to put a implant for it. And I think he was allergic to the metal. He had to like remove the hardware and try it again. Did the cadaver, didn't take, and all the like. He think he is the coach or Cody Hagen that he's fighting. Is he fighting this weekend? I think Cody Hagen is fighting against Marab whenever they're fighting against each other.
Okay.
But Ryan Hall is his primary coach for the grappling part, which makes sense why his leg locks are good. Because Ryan Hall is nasty. But I didn't know that they were released by the UFC.
Well, that's yeah. I mean, Nick is less surprising to me.
And he lost against Robbie Lawler. It was initially was set up for 170 pounds, but then it was a catchweight afterwards.
Okay.
He was inactive for a while too. After the Anderson Silva fight, I think who would know he would test positive for cannabis? Who knew that?
Never would have guessed.
Meanwhile, he's laying down on the ground asking for Anderson Silva to come down to the ground. He turned his back against Anderson Silva in the middle of the fight. Who knew that he was going to test positive? You have to be out of your mind or as stoned to the gills to try to do that.
Yeah.
But yeah, he was released by the UFC recently. I know that. But I know Ryan Hall was that old either.
Yeah, I guess I didn't realize that either. I mean, feel like he hasn't fought in a while. He also, for jiu-jitsu guys, I feel like his fights were fun to watch, but I don't know if he really brought a whole lot of viewers to the UFC. I feel like that's a huge factor.
Yeah.
To being,
Yeah. I think for the longest he had an issue because he wasn't able to get matchups. That's one thing he was having trouble with. He was able to get matchups because people didn't want to go against him.
Too good.
Yeah. I can't remember, was it Pereira or Gobe Teixeira? He had a problem too. But me, if you're in an organization for the fighting and you're afraid of fighting, what are we doing?
True. Yeah. Very.
Get money, don't make money. But you have to. I don't know, because also he had to. It looks like he's at the end of his career. And so many. I mean, after surgeries during that time, I don't think he'll like doing much striking or MMA. He can go into grappling maybe. He's gonna be the next UFC BJJ. Yeah, it's him versus Musumeci.
Yeah. I feel like he'd get dominated there, but
yeah, because I think he's 145. Right House 145, I think. Musumeci in 135. I can't remember, but just as an exhibition match.
Yeah,
see how they do it.
It'd be cool.
Yeah. But we're in that subject of history, like the other big moments. Let's talk about the sport legend of Mark Kerr, the coming movie about him, the Smash Machine, which had The Rock, Emily Blunt, and other fighters in there that actually competed, in which Ryan Bader is going to be playing Mark Coleman. Alexander Usyk, he's the world heavyweight champion in boxing. I want to say he's playing a Russian there from back in the day, from when Mark Kerr was in prime. And
Okay.
El Guapo, speaking of, circle back to Bas Rutten, he's going to be in the movie as well. I think
yes, sir.
He's one of the coaches in there. I'm not sure. Also, he was a commentator for Prime too. Bas Rutten, which is good, like a callback for Prime. Him and Mauro Ranello, they were the commentators for Prime. I don't know if you've seen that video whenever Mauro Ranello first started with Prime, and it's only to do an interview with Krokop. Krokop was playing with him like, "Hey, were you the guy that talking bad about me? I don't want to talk to you. Get out here." And then Kirk was pretending that he was pissed off. Then the producer like, nah, just go back in there, finish your interview. He's like, dude, he's mad at me. Like, finish the interview, go back in there. And we're like, dude, get out of here. So I want to see you. He's like, dude, he's pissed off at me. He's gonna try to kill. He was talking about another commentator that said something about him, that Kirkup, but he was afraid of telling Kirkup that he's another guy that said that. Then Bashir started laughing. So they was joking. Like, dude, he was scared, like, and pissed off at the same time because like, it wasn't me.
That
Poor Moro. And then, like, of course, Basrun set him up on that one. Basrun fashion. For this one, The Rock and Emily Blunt. Emily Blunt, she's a good actress. I've seen in Sicario. She was a good actress in there. It was an action movie. But this is the Mark Kerr story. He was one of the most dominant heavyweights in MMA in the earlier years. He was in the UFC. I think he had a 3-fight contract with the UFC, but he only did 2 tournaments, 2 of them, 13 and 14. And after that, Pride reached out to him, and that's how he ended up in Pride competing. He battled with addiction, personal demons, made his career in one of the most tragic yet compelling stories in combat sport. He had combat. He had a lot of, I can't remember if it was anxiety, but he's like a really well mannered guy. Like, he talks like really soft, but when he went in there, he was beast mode. One his fights that stick out was whenever he was in Brazil, when he got his nickname the Smashing Machine. He submitted somebody by sticking his shins in somebody's eye socket. Well, of the submission is that just into the eyeball.
whatever it takes.
Yeah, another guy, he busted all his teeth out during a fight, but hopefully it will be like a huge win only for MMA fans. It shows a different aspect of The Rock, other than just being a big blockbuster action hero guy playing a biopic. Hopefully, I don't know if you've seen the movie The Wrestler by Mickey Rourke back in the day, because he was like big impact in pro wrestling when that movie came out. Because he shows a different aspect of how pro wrestlers, they go like their lifestyle and how rough it is, working so many nights, drinking, that and also trying to keep up with that schedule is difficult, and there's not much reward. And that's what it was back then in the old wild west of MMA. It was frowned upon sport. It was brutal considering the time. So could this be the movie that finally puts MMA early legends in the big screen in a serious way?
I hope so. I mean, I'm curious what you think about it, but I feel like a lot of the MMA movies or fighting movies in general just aren't. I don't know. A lot of them just don't hit right. The actors just don't do them justice.
Yeah. I wonder they do a lot too much fuckery in movies, trying to make it too, for example, two brothers fight each other like Warrior, the movie. They're just fighting each other, but this is more like a biopic and show that that life outside the cage. They just being that guys and fighting things, showing the training part, was the aftermath. I can't remember why he got in trouble. He was so addicted to painkillers in Japan. I think that's what it was. I remember something was illegal. You had to get stuff prescribed. Yeah, I had to see what it was. I can't remember what it was that he had trouble, because early in the early 2000s they did a documentary about him. I think it was the Smashing Machine too. It was by HBO as well. It was just trying to show him in his prime, but actually show his life, how he was crumbling apart because of his painkiller addiction.
Okay. That is interesting.
Yeah. So that'll be it. Kind of resonant, because a lot of people like heroes movies, but being a hero takes a lot of stuff. Like it is not just the glamour and things like that. You have the other things behind. You have working up to the long training hours and things you have to give up, time you have to give up with your family. And not everybody is a Conor McGregor that just slinging weights with his dick and living the lifestyle. And some of the ones, they had to pull the time to be able to get there and sacrifice. So it kind of relates with other people that are watching the movie as well, that they had to sacrifice things in life, in their jobs that they do, so that we're able to provide for the family. And some people have addiction problems. It might not be painkillers, it might be alcohol, it might be food, or other kind of addiction, gambling addiction, in which personal demons that they bottle. So it kind of like resonate with the regular people rather than just showing a action movie of fighting. It doesn't resonate. Not everybody, it's the upper echelon of fighting. Not everybody can do it. The other like the bigger, like stepping back and showing the whole picture of what it's like being living that lifestyle and the negotiation part of two big organizations at the time. It was Pride and UFC in the early days in which they weren't getting paid as much as they do nowadays.
Yeah, I think too that can be fairly inspiring to realize like what they worked through, because it's pretty easy to think like, oh, they're professionals, they just train all the time, that's all they do, of course they can, but no, a lot of them start out like working their normal job and then making sure that they went to training every day, and things that they're very difficult, because I mean, you work all day, you're tired, you come home, you sit on the couch, or you can go train. Like, they chose to go train. That's why they're there. It's not because they're like, I mean, a lot of them are, talented individuals for sure. I'm not taking that away, but that's not all it is. It takes a lot of hard work on top of it.
Yeah. And not everybody makes it. That's the thing.
Right.
So like,
yeah, that's very true. Yeah, it's not a guaranteed story. So there's also the hopelessness of it sometimes.
What is the saying that success happen with preparation, opportunity, meet? So you can prepare yourself, but if that opportunity, that door doesn't open, good luck, man. You have like a bright manager, you're stuck in limbo. You're working your ass off, trying to provide for your family, trying to build a career in which you can in the wrong people. So hopefully they'll be able to this movie will be able to bring that to the front for people to see. Because back then, I mean, he wrestled Randy Couture. Because he came from the wrestling world. I think he wrestled for Syracuse. He tried. I can't remember. He made the Olympic team or the world team. He wrestled against Kurt Angle as well for the position for the Olympic spot. That's where he came from. Then after that he transitioned to MMA. And the funny thing was, full circle, the reason he started wrestling was because he watched pro wrestling as a little kid. And that's why he started wrestling in high school, Mark Kerr. And now the guy that plays him in a biopic is a pro wrestler, The Rock.
Right.
How funny is that?
Yeah, that is funny.
Full circle.
Yeah.
He actually a pro wrestling guy portray him in his MMA career, his early life.
Yeah, that is cool. Hopefully it gives The Rock some insight to play the part well.
Yeah, because he, according to Mark Kerr, The Rock reached out to him about this movie. He's trying to do this movie and try to make the biopic. Back in 2019, he wanted to announce it in the BMF title fight versus Masvidal versus Nate Diaz. That's when they got a green light for it. The movie started recording for it. According, like, it was premiere was September 1st in Venice, and according they had like an 8-minute standing ovation, people clapping after the movie, and like good like reviews on the movie. But also that I don't know how legit it is Venice compared to the rest of the people watching movies. Why? Because how many times you seen like critics criticize a movie when you watch it, you like it?
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. Or more often for me, it's like the critics love it and I can't stand it.
A life pie. Like, what the fuck is a life of pie?
Yeah.
Boring as shit. Like, what are you watching? I can't understand this shit at all.
Yeah.
And they give like Pulp Fiction 0 stars. Like, dude, I like Pulp Fiction.
Right.
But hopefully, do you even watch Baywatch, the remake with The Rock? They gave that movie like 0 stars, like the critics. It was funny as shit, but like
it was pretty funny. I did like that one.
But still, like one of the worst movies of the year. That's what they rated.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it was. I like it. Zac Efron was hilarious.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the thing.
Yeah, and The Rock was funny too.
Mm-hmm.
But hopefully there will be good reviews in this movie, because it like spotlight like now like UFC is doing good or doing well for fighters that they had like the pioneer wing in the Hall of Fame because you had Pride wing, you have the Five Wings, and other like different areas for the Hall of Fame. Pioneers, I think was it Beto Belfort? I think he was in Wanderlei Silva were announced that they were going to be in the pioneer wing for no Vito would be pioneer and Wanderlei would be pride wing. Also, another thing in consideration was Wanderlei Silva was going back to Wanderlei Silva. Wanderlei Silva was banned from the UFC for life because he ran away from the UFC testing back when he was supposed to schedule to fight just on it. But now he's going to be in the Hall of Fame. How crazy is that? How did he get?
He's really been on both sides of it. That's crazy.
Yeah, how did he get banned from the UFC for life or banned like altogether because you remember, and then you end up in the Hall of Fame regardless. It's wild.
So that's pretty good.
Yeah. And then his career spoke for himself. The axe murderer, Wanderlei Silva, was his prime. Some of those guys.
I guess, yeah, the undeniable career.
Yeah. Like you had to bring him. I wonder if the UFC will bring Fedor into the pride. Because they purchased Pride, and Fedor was one of the guys that was in heavyweight. He was destroying everybody.
I don't know. What do you think?
I don't know because they haven't brought Randy Couture. Randy Couture is one of the pioneers, and also he is not a Hall of Famer in the UFC because he has some issues with them.
That's surprising to me. Yeah. Yeah, Randy Couture is like so famous.
Yeah.
Really?
I want to say at one point it was like 90% of his fights were title fights.
Dang.
Yeah, because he is against Tito Ortiz, Chuck Liddell, Vito Belfort, Brock Lesnar, Team Sylvia, like all of those were like title fights that he had in his career. And I mean, he has to be up there as far as like Hall of Fame. So he's one of the double champs in the UFC. One of the first ones. Yeah, he was light heavyweight and heavyweight champion.
Okay. Yeah, they gotta put him in. That's problems that he had with the UFC.
I want to say it was the video game rights or something like that. That he didn't want to like be there. He didn't want to give up his rights for the game, or he was part of the lawsuit class action. Also, the UFC lost recently. What's his name? Kong Lee was another guy that was part of the class action lawsuit against the UFC. I'm not sure that had to be with it, but I think he left and then he came back. Then left and came back. I remember when he lost against Brock Lesnar. Around the time I think he was like filming Scorpion King 2, something like that, some movie. But then he came back and he came back. I think in light heavyweight. He wasn't fighting heavyweight anymore. He fought against Little Machida. He lost. He got knocked out there. That's why he retired altogether in Canada. But I can't remember. Let's look it up. Why is Randy Couture not with the UFC like in the Hall of Fame? Because he's right now a commentator for PFL. They said me being past tension in dispute the UFC social disagreement or fighter likeness. Yeah, that's what it was. Fighters likeness and rights. But never mind, he got inducted into correction. He got inducted into the UFC Hall of Fame in 2006 while he was still fighting.
Okay.
Yeah, 6-time UFC champion, two weight classes. He had a rocky relationship with Dana White. This issues stem from disagreement over ancillary rights, likeness for video games, and Couture departure from an analyst role. He was a commentator at 1.2 for the UFC. Some sources suggest that Couture has been blacklisted or canceled by the UFC, which leads to less promotion or mention of him in official or UFC content, even though he's in the Hall of Fame. Maybe he's a video game because some fighters that were fighting back against it. I think John Fitch was one of the other guys too that was fighting against if you didn't sign the contract to be in the UFC video game, you were getting fired. I think John Fitch got fired at one point, and then he signed like his rights for image likeness, and he got signed back again. He got hired again, which is crazy for a video game.
It's kind of blowing my mind. That seems like such a crazy thing for all that.
Yeah, the thing about it was UFC was not with EA Sport before. They're trying to get to EA Sport, and they like give the green lights, so they went the other way. But I think after UFC 4, they're with EA Sport now. Even though You know what? You talk so much shit about EA Sport. Now that like also Dana White's one of those guys that sometimes he gets on rants and shit. He gets against other people, and then he changes his mind. Like, you know what? I changed my mind. I was wrong about that. Little too,
You spoke a little too soon.
yeah, a little too carried away, perhaps. Speaking of, I think EA Sports just got purchased. They got purchased by somebody, and by Saudi Arabia deal, and they got removed from being a public entity. You know, you had like stocks and shares. They're a private entity now. They're giving people like $210 per share.
Really?
Yeah, that's how much money he was bought up. $55 billion deal. That's crazy.
55 billion. That's hard to imagine.
Because how many words, like video games, they go through them?
Quite a lot. Seems like a strange move. I haven't heard of many companies moving from public to private like that. Usually it's the opposite.
Yeah, to make more money that way. Electronic Arts, that's what it has been purchased and it's being taken private in a $55 billion deal, concerning including Saudi Arabia's public investment fund, a private equity firm Silver Lake, and Jared Kushner Affinity Partners. That's what's the name? Husband. He's Trump's son-in-law. Jared Kushner, Donald Trump's son-in-law. His daughter Ivanka? Yeah, Ivanka's husband. That's his name. Jared Kushner Affinity Partners. That's part of the purchase. The acquisition is a record-setting private equity buyout. The EA's shareholders will receive $210 per share, and the company CEO Andrew Wilson is expected to remain in his executive role after the deal, which is anticipated to close the second quarter of 2026. How much money does Saudi Arabia have to buy all this stuff? They are video games. They're into MMA, boxing. A lot of soccer teams that are being bought up by them. This like a Airbnb for them. Just buying like different stuff like that.
The thing is that they've got to, because they've made the money off oil, and now there's a push. Now there's a push to get rid of that. So they have to invest in other things.
That's crazy because for the longest they didn't have to disclose how much money they have. How many people there are like in the Forbes top 10 richest men? No, how many of them are from Saudi Arabia? They don't have to tell how rich they are.
Yeah, that's very true.
Hey, I got money, okay? I got money.
I got enough.
Yeah. You see the country right there? Yeah, that's investment. But that is wild. Like I remember, like for example, the promotion that the Dana White did for the Canelo fight. Terence Crawford also was Saudi money as well. That's a lot of money, man. I need better friends, man, with money.
Yeah, right.
Hey, if you're Saudi Arabia, you listen to this podcast, send us a message on Spotify. We can use some help. But yeah, that's all I have for today.
No, I think that covered it.
Yeah, close us.
Sure. All right. Thank you guys for listening. That wraps up today's episode. Let's see. What did we cover? We covered everything from Wanderlei Silva, the wild brawl where he got knocked out, Jake Matthews' controversial loss, ISO Speed tapping out via Gogo Plata, Gable Stevenson's upcoming dirty boxing and potential MMA. The Mark Kerr new movie coming out. What is that? Smashing Machine. Sorry. Yeah. As always, thank you guys for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed the podcast. Don't forget to subscribe, share with your training partners, drop a review, drop us a like, shoot us a message if you want. Listen to us on Spotify, YouTube, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, and iTunes. Thanks again. Until next time, stay sharp, keep fighting the good fight.
Thanks for tuning in to the Mad Matters podcast. Don't forget to subscribe and follow us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, and YouTube, so you never miss an episode. Drop us a review, share with your training partners, and keep rolling on and off the mat. Until next time, keep fighting, keep learning, keep growing.